Heyo everybody, Haku here with a very special, aren't they kind of always in a way, HaQ&A 77. So this one's going to have a lot of updates for the channel, because a lot of things are kind of changing, not really changing, but sort of internally. I don't know how to put it, but either way, I'm going to use this as my medium to just, like it's sort of meant to be, to just discuss things with you and just talk to you. And there's going to be a lot that I want to talk about the channel and how things are going to go in the future from here on. And after that, I have a couple short sections from things, and then a big, huge Tower of God section. But I couldn't really find too many great comments for them. I'll talk about comments first before I get into the more deep channel changing-ish stuff. So please, if you want me to discuss more topics on here, give me more comments every week, because we are gonna go weekly with HaQ&As on Thursday. At least we'll see how that changes given the anime schedule for next season, but it'll probably stay on Thursdays. So the reason I'm going weekly is because I was trying to do a schedule of every other week. One time we do a special video, one time we do HaQ&A back and forth. And I was spending so many hours working on these special videos, trying to figure out what I was going to do, taking notes and preparing and all that, and then trying to keep up with comments on the other hand and doing all this, that I spent so much time working on both that I accomplished neither. So basically the solution to that is that I'm just going to do HaQ&As weekly. And then whenever I do finish a video, like I have a Boku no Hero Academia favorite character video I want to do very soon that I've got kind of almost done, I'll just take a Thursday off, post that on Thursday, and then the next HaQ&A will be the next Thursday. So this will be weekly, except it'll take a week off and be replaced with special videos just whenever special videos are done. I'd like to do maybe some more Magical Girl Raising Project videos, some videos on some of my, I don't know, not as huge series. And definitely, like I've been saying, I'm going to reread Tower of God at some point, and I will be doing a updated favorite arcs video and an updated favorite characters video, both of which will go in that kind of time slot. So going weekly with this is the first thing, and just asking for more comments. Just please give me more comments each week if you want me to discuss certain topics and certain series each week. I've got a lot of things that I had talked about recently with people about Magical Girl Raising Project and Boku no Hero Academia and such on Discord and on Twitter, so I think I might next week, if I don't have enough comments for like series like that, so that there's more variety, I'll just try to find some topics from those conversations that would maybe be cool to just share and discuss with everyone here in the HaQ&A, if comments alone weren't enough. Oh yeah, and the two small sections I have this time are Boku no Hero Academia and Manmusu, but they are going to be pretty small. Then is that about it for the comments discussion? I guess so. Oh yeah, also, if comments from this week exactly aren't in this one, I'm still catching up on comments, and I will be going back. Even if you have a comment that I haven't gotten to yet and it's like a week old, I'm still going to go back and get to it. And right now I'm just so far behind that I'm kind of getting back into things, and it'll maybe take a few weeks of doing the HaQ&A weekly to really get back into the swing of things and be totally caught up with things. But gotta take those first steps forward, I guess. Yeah. Either way. So here comes the important stuff, that it's so difficult for me to just open up and share things personally. So these things are going to be hard for me to talk about, but it's basically going to be about why so many things have been pushed back recently, why I've fallen off schedule so many times, though being on kind of a video schedule, even though I failed to keep it constantly, has been helping. I'm going to be talking about reasons behind why things are screwy and how I'm going to fix all that. So it's kind of mostly a psychological thing. I've been struggling with a lot outside of YouTube, and maybe it's best to compare things to the way things were at one point, but I guess it all starts in the last season, fall season. I'm going to be judging my time by anime seasons. This is how bad this is. I'm going to be judging my time by anime seasons here, just because it's easy to get keep through because it's like 3 months at a time, and it's even beginning and end of each month. It's a really easy way to tell time. So I've kind of adopted it as my way of telling time. But it started in fall of 2016. I had already gotten my degree, but I took an extra semester, another semester in college, because at that point, one of the best things in my life, of course, is YouTube, and I wanted to do better at it. I wanted to take classes on things like business or video editing, kind of online media and stuff, because before doing YouTube, I knew absolutely nothing about that. I have like no good equipment or anything. I am literally just using a laptop, a $5 microphone that I'm on like my third or fourth one, and a webcam. So things are bare bones, to say the least. And I guess there have been reasons it stayed like that, but we'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. So 2016, I was doing college full time. I was also doing like 2-3 YouTube videos a day, and I was enjoying the hell out of it. And I was trying to work part-time. So I'm doing all that at once, and there's only a limited amount of time that one can do things in their lives in a day. There's only 24 hours. So I was going like 3 days at a time without sleeping. I was constantly busy, but I was really, really happy with it the entire time. I was having so much fun. It was when I had first got into Magical Girl Raising Project. The anime was airing. And that was doing so well and bringing so many new people into the channel, and I was loving everything else I was doing on the channel. We were at a height from that season and for the next few seasons onward through 2017, where basically any video I posted, whether it was One Piece or a read-through or a review or Tower of God or an anime, they were getting like, basically no matter what I posted was getting at least 200 views, and it was amazing and insane. And everything was so great, even though because of that, during that fall, because of my schedule of never sleeping and eventually having to take less and less part-time work until I eventually had to quit it, not being able to work out anymore, just sacrificing things so that I could do college, could do YouTube, because it's a passion and a dream that I wanted to work for. So I was doing all that, and in the meantime, I got really, really sick, and I had a fever for over 40 days. I gained 50 pounds in those 3 months, and it was kind of, as much as it was amazing, it was terrible at the same time for me. And though I was going so hard, and though that was the last semester of college I did, I kept it going mostly through 2017, just with the YouTube stuff, and I was so happy with it, because even though I was getting really sick a lot because gaining all that weight and having a fever for 40 days straight, I was having a lot of headaches. I was just getting sick to my stomach and being really sick and tired a lot. But I had so many outside forces, because 2017 was like the best year of anime ever, and I was getting into all these new things like the light novels for Magical Girl Raising Project. I had all these outside sources helping me stay motivated and pushing me forward. And though my body was failing, I was still doing really great then. But then about, I guess you've seen through the spring season we just had, and we're currently in summer season, I started having to skip days of uploading, pushing videos back a lot. And it was just sort of that health catching up to me, and me going over a year and never being able to lose that weight back, even if I had maintained the same weight. So it was a lot of things all compounded together and all working together to kind of screw me. But a big thing too is that YouTube in February had this new thing going on, where they decided that if you didn't have 1,000 subscribers, or 4,000 I believe it is, freaking hours of watch time per, was it per year or per month? I don't remember. I think it's per year, because that's a friggin' ton. You couldn't be monetized whatsoever anymore. Well, I had many hours over that because you guys are so amazing. And before that, I was making like maybe $100 or so here and there off of YouTube. It wasn't anything big, but it was enough to keep me motivated that I can put it back into the channel, and I was able to buy things to help improve the channel during that time. And though things were going like not so, like I was less than 1,000 subscribers, making that much was pretty good. So I went from that to making absolutely zero. And since then, since February, over half a year now, I guess this is definite proof to you, judge me not by my words but my actions, that I definitely don't do this for money. I do it out of love and out of wanting to share videos and my discussions with all of you, because though I've made absolutely 0 cents whatsoever, no ads whatsoever, because I have less than 1,000 subscribers, even though I have way over the watch time, I kept making videos every day, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. And I've enjoyed it and loved every second of it. YouTube is one of the best things in my life. But at the same time, human beings need a house over their head and food to eat. And so at the same time, I had all these external forces outside of YouTube. Instead of pushing me forward, I had all these external sources dragging me back. And the 2 biggest ones for me are finances, because I feel like I'm just constantly stressed out. Like, am I going to have to give up or cut back on YouTube to do more work to support myself? Can this dream of making YouTube into something that helps me like really work out? And the other big one is body image, where I felt like throughout 2016 into 2017 I was getting more open. I was able to more comfortably sit up here and talk to you all, whereas beforehand, before doing YouTube, there is no way I could imagine talking to people, even if it's over a camera, for so much every single day. And I was so scared that when I first started, like, oh, everyone's gonna hate me and make fun of me, and this is just not gonna work out, and I'll have nothing in life going for me at that point that I enjoy. So I was scared of that, but no, everybody was always so kind and so great, and that's continued on for years and years. But body image is a thing because I gained that 50 pounds and maybe an additional 10 or so since then. And though I have, after that 3-month period, I stopped gaining weight and was able to hold it back, I spent so much time doing YouTube and trying to stay alive outside of YouTube that that at the same time I wasn't able to lose it back, and so I became more nervous. And that you could probably tell in a lot of my videos in the past few months that I've just been a lot more nervous. I've been a lot less open. And I feel like a lot of you have said, like last week I had people saying, oh, we can tell you're doing a lot better compared to where you were, you seem less depressed. And it was a thing where even now it feels horrible to talk about my weight, and you're gonna say, oh, you're such a big baby. I'm about 200 pounds even, which for an American male that's 6 feet tall as I am isn't really that big a deal. But I feel like there are different sides. This is definitely, again, not a body shaming thing either too, because different people, I feel like, are comfortable and see themselves at different weights, or they feel healthy. Different weights are healthy for different people. Somebody can be my size or even bigger, even much bigger, and just be healthy for them and happy for them. But for me, it's obviously not healthy. Like I said, I've been really, really sick lately, and a lot of the things that I feel sick with, a lot of the problems I've been having, only really started since I wasn't able to work out and since I gained all that weight. And so, given that that's kind of the cause, the solution, I think, would be to get back in shape and to be able to work out every day and get back to the weight I was at before. I really don't want to say get back to. I really want to move forward, not go back. And the same thing's true with the channel. So I think the 2 things that have been holding me back on the channel the most, it's a big psychological thing with everything working together, but I feel like the 2 big things are my sort of comfortableness with myself, being busy outside of YouTube, which I said last week that was going to stop and I was going to have much more time for YouTube and be able to be on a much better schedule, and I have been. I got my sleep back. I was sleeping like 3 hours a night for a while there, and I got my sleep back last week. And last week I was able to upload things earlier and quicker. And that was another thing with things bothering me mentally more. I used to be able to make a video, get it up in like a couple hours or something, if I stayed working on it and stayed focused, but I would just have so much trouble doing that recently. My mind would wander. I wouldn't enjoy the process of making it as much anymore. And that's coming back to me already, and I feel like it will fully come back and I'll be able to fully stay focused if I solve those two problems. So the first thing, now that I have my time schedule better, it's going to be something that's just going to be a process to work on over time. Losing weight back and getting back into shape. And the other thing being finances. So I'm going to hit 1,000 subscribers eventually. We're at over 800 now, which I'm so happy about. And I'll be able to have monetization back. I've almost thought about just not having ads, not bringing back monetization. I've done it this far, making nothing, but I would really love to make a Patreon. And again, that's something that I've wanted to do since February when I stopped getting any ad revenue. I wanted to make a Patreon. That way anybody who wanted to give whatever they felt like giving could. But at the same time, I was like, I don't have time for that. I got videos I want to work on. So again, more proof that it's definitely not about the money. I've put off making a Patreon until now in September, all the way since February, because I didn't want it to get in the way of me having time to make videos. Me making it, even though it should be super quick and easy to make, but I stress out about things and it takes me forever to do even the simplest of things, because anxiety, of course. But I will be making a Patreon very soon. Like I said, I'm getting everything together and I'm motivated to fix everything, and not get everything back, but to move forward and make the channel better. So the schedule is basically staying the same, except with not having to worry about with not being as self-conscious about myself and not worrying so much about finances, I'll be able to do more and do better at what I'm already doing. So like with Patreon, it's a complex thing too, because I'm like, I don't know what to give people, because I went around and looked at a bunch of other people's Patreon that I watched their videos, and I'm like, is there anything here I can think of to offer anyone? And everything's like exclusive videos, or access to Discord server, or I'll talk to you once a month or something, and I'm like, I already answer every comment I can possibly, and if anybody wanted to take out their time to want to talk to me on Twitter, on Discord, here on YouTube, anywhere, I would take out my time and talk to them. I would make that time for them. And the same goes for, I'm not going to hide videos behind a paywall or say you get early access. As soon as I make a video, I'm eager to get it out there and share it with all of you, because that's what it's about. It's not about the money. And in addition to that, there was something else I was going to say further. Oh yeah, access to Discord server. That's free and open for anybody. Anybody can get into the Discord. I'd love to talk with as many of you as possible. So that's the thing. I'm like, what do I have to offer? Everything everyone else is offering, I'm just already doing because I want to. So the thing is, my solution to that with making a Patreon is that, well, to talk about things in two parts. First of all, how much I think it'd be cool if I only had like 1 out of every 50 of you, since there's like 800, give $1 single. 1 out of every 50 gives $1 single. I think even just that $15 a month would give me enough to think, it'd be a little bit over that, but it would give me enough to think, okay, let's keep pushing forward, let's accumulate that and use it to put back into the channel, because it's been bothering me finance-wise that I haven't been able to put things back into the channel. But if even more of that, if every subscriber gave $1, is the thing I always hear from people making Patreon videos. Yeah, if everybody gave me $1, 800 a month, hell yeah, I would turn this. I would be doing so much more, and I would buy so many new things to help with the channel. But Even if it's just like $1 from one out of every like two, or one out of every 10-ish, that'd be $80. Would it? Sorry, I'm losing my math because I'm up here on the spot in front of camera. I am very, very good at math. Please don't think I'm stupid. But no, like, if 1 out of every 4 of you gave $1 and I had 200 a month, 200 a month would be incredible. For I could get a good microphone set up, I could get good things to edit with, a decent computer. Finally, mine is like 7 years old and I've been working on the same computer this entire time I've had a channel. I could get a decent camera. I could just upgrade everything, and I feel like that'd be really helpful. But in addition, having the security of knowing that 200's coming in every month would make it a lot easier to not stress about things and just do more videos in general, and up the quality on the ones I'm already making. So even just a tiny little bit, I'm not expecting a lot, I'm not expecting some sort of miracle, but even just a little bit would help a lot. And in addition, my solution to what I can actually give for people that became patrons, sorry, this is kind of turning into a Patreon chilling video, but it's part of the update, so I hope you stick with me, is that I'd love to do streaming. I don't have, like, my computer can't handle it. That's the thing. My internet could, computer can't handle it. I've tried before and it didn't really work out. So a new computer that I could stream from, doing streams, whether it be playing a game and talking to you all, or doing like a live HaQ&A. I'd still do the normal HaQ&As, but doing a live one on top of that too, where you can give me comments and I could talk with you in the chat like real time for an hour a week, or things like that. I would love to do that, and I feel like maybe just have a video that I do every week or every month where it'll be a live stream for patrons, and then I can put it up as a video. Like, say that live HaQ&A thing, I do that where patrons can just talk to me in the chat and we can do a HaQ&A live, and then I can post that in addition to the normal HaQ&A on the channel, and it'd be an extra video that everyone could enjoy, but it'd be something special. So basically what I'm saying is that I would not take anything away or hide anything behind paywalls for people who aren't patrons, but I would find ways to add extra things on top of what I'm already doing for patrons. Another thing could be is that every month I'll do a Patreon series where I'll have Patreon vote on a series, whether it's a webcomic or light novel or manga or anime, and I'll read through it or watch through it and either do read-through videos or a review if it's an anime. Basically, I'll just pick a series each month to say, hey, give me something to make a video on, you guys get to choose, and I'll let the patrons choose what I do. And I'll do that every single month. So there will be things that I can do like that, that I already will keep the same content and be adding new things for everyone, but I'll add some new things for patrons too. And that's, I think, the best and fairest way to do anything without locking things behind a paywall, you know? Providing videos that benefit everyone, but the patrons can have their say in some extra things. So they get a choice, and yet everyone gets a benefit. So, yeah. It would be mostly just saying, hey, thank you, here's $1 or whatever every month. Thank you for doing your videos every single day or something. God, it sounds so narcissistic. I hate this kind of talk. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I am only human. And there is only so much time. And the two things that have been bothering me are self-image and finances. And I think a Patreon can help quickly solve one of the big issues that I have, and working to lose weight. And that's not going to be an instant thing, but even if, say, 2 months from now I've lost 10 pounds, I'd be like, okay, I'm on the right track. I'm on a good path. So yeah, just even short term, those two things would help take away my two biggest worries and concerns. And now that I'm already getting back on a good timetable and schedule for things, I have a lot of hope that things can move forward. And I think this has affected me personally away from YouTube a bit too, whereas the past few months I've been like, there are no good anime on. That's why before I was reviewing 3 anime or so a month or a season, but these past 2 seasons I've only done Boku no Hero Academia because there's been nothing else that I'm interested in. And even if I find something I am interested in, like watch Asobi Asubase, it is so funny, it is so good, nothing that I want to review. There's just been nothing to motivate me, and even things that I don't want to review I haven't stuck with as much lately. And I feel like that's coming from the same psychological aspect that I'm just worried and stressed out, so I'm not properly just chilling and enjoying myself. So again, I'm thinking with next season I can do better with that too. And we'll have more anime reviews coming back, because though Boku no Hero Academia is ending, Index 3, that is next season, right? I hope I'm not seeming stupid right now. Index 3 is coming. I am so excited for Index 3. Towaru Majutsu no Index and Towaru Kagaku no Railgun, by kind of proxy, are 2 of my favorite anime series ever. Kind of the same series in my opinion. So kind of my favorite franchise for anime ever. It's at least up there. It was my favorite for the longest time until Boku no Hero Academia came along and gave it a run for its money. But having Index 3, I'm going to be reviewing that weekly, and I am so unbelievably excited for it. And there's a bunch of other anime to be excited for too. So I think this past week, getting back on schedule and being able to do things in decent time, I've been a lot happier, and I'm happy that people have been able to notice. And with making some changes in my life, like taking some of this extra time, now that I'm working on a better schedule and getting things done better, taking some of this extra time to work out every day and get back in shape, and in addition to that, being able to have a Patreon to try to have money to feel more secure personally, and to put that money back into the channel to feel like I'm improving it that way too. I feel like things are looking really up from here. And just the small changes to the schedule too, like doing a HaQ&A weekly, where the HaQ&A used to be this thing that I wanted to do every single week and build the channel around, and that's kind of what it was. And then I neglected it for so long because I had so much going on, and now I feel like I can get back to that. And I feel like the comments getting scarcer, again, was kind of my fault too, because I didn't do as good a job of answering them because I was so busy with all these things dragging me down. So I'm in a good place now, and I feel like things are looking up. I feel like we're going to be able to improve things. Me and all of us, because I always said way back when, and I always still think now and truly believe that the channel still, it's not just me. I'm making the videos, but what point would it be without people watching them? I want to have your input and not really assistance, I don't know. I want to have you as much a part of the content as possible too, and that's what the HaQ&As are for. I want the channel to be about discussion and community, and not just me throwing videos out into a void for people to watch and not communicating with everyone. So yeah, I guess that's the deep, kind of somber at parts talk that I wanted to have with everyone. It went on for 30 minutes, but to be honest, I kind of figured it was. So, to put it in short, I will do better. I'm happy. Things are going well with the channel. I've always been happy with the channel and YouTube. That's the one thing I have always been happy with. Anime, I will be happier with that and be doing more of that in the future. Since it's the thing I've fallen back on, I love the way that read-throughs have been going lately. They're kind of one of my favorite things right now because everybody seems to appreciate them so much, and I truly enjoy making them so much. Also, Tower of God's been great lately. And some of other things like that. Oh yeah, and I need to catch up with One Piece too, but that is what it is. Also, in short, I will be making a Patreon, and I really, really hope that some of you can join me as patrons, but no pressure if you don't. Like I said, you're not going to be losing anything if you don't become a patron. I just want to have extra things for those that do, and I would really appreciate things. And I reiterate, please don't think I'm shilling it. It is not for the money. I have gone 8 months or so now with no ad rev, so, and I've still made videos every single day basically. So yeah, it's definitely not about the money, or else, yeah, judge my actions, not my words, which may have seemed kind of, I don't know, the whole Patreon video thing is, I'm gonna make one when I make the Patreon, but the whole concept thing has always been kind of, Patreon is good for creators, but it's always made me feel kind of like, it's always kind of made me standoffish and nervous. It's that anxiety hitting. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about here. I wanted to record this as a part, and because of how long I figured it would be, I'm probably going to record the other I'll probably record the Boku no Hero Academia and Manmusu discussions really quickly, but I probably won't record the Tower of God Sorry, I have the hiccups now. I won't record the Tower of God discussion until like tomorrow maybe, and then I'll just edit this all together into one big HaQ&A for you on Thursday, because I'm recording this Tuesday. So either way, thank you for listening through this if you have. I really, really, truly do appreciate it, because I kind of spilled my heart a little bit there. I know I tried to act cool and play it off, but I did spill my heart a little bit there. So either way, thank you for that, and I guess that means next I'll be talking about Boku no Hero Academia for a little bit. So let's talk about Boku no Hero Academia for a little while. And basically, most of the discussion I have on this is going to be based on the Endeavor Hawks Dabi stuff, and based on a comment I made discussing my thoughts on everything going on way back then. So it's not exactly contemporary, but it is something I wanted to talk about here to continue the discussion and such. So here are some general thoughts. I think that Hawks is totally a good guy, and that his story is going to be kind of tragic, or at least it has the potential to go in a kind of tragic direction. And appearances aside, with people thinking maybe he's a double agent or something, High End could have totally killed Endeavor. If Hawks didn't help him, Endeavor could have totally died. And that kind of proves that Hawks isn't with the villains. There's no chance of it, because the villains would have won right there, period. Without an Endeavor, the heroes would have no public figure left to believe in that could reasonably beat him. All Might is gone, and if the second below All Might isn't enough to beat High End, then there'd be nobody below Endeavor that people could think would beat High End. At least not until like Izuku's generation grows up or whatever, but at least for now, the villains would have basically won. They would have completely destroyed the trust in hero society. So Hawks clearly doesn't like the mission he's on, but he is definitely a good guy. And also, the fact that he knew about Gran Torino's investigation could also be some deeper hints. A theory that I'm just going to throw in, it was in my comment, just a bullet point that said, I don't like the whole Dabi is a spy too theory. I don't like that. I kind of think it's better if Dabi is actually an evil, emo douche, probably Todoroki, probably Toya even. I like that theory at this point, because there's been so much development put into these characters and their connections that but there's been so much put in there that I feel like Dabi's got to be a Todoroki at this point. I didn't like the theory at first, but it would just be dumb if he isn't at this point, because it's so well developed. So I don't like the Dabi as a spy too theory. Also, one thing I've still never been able to tell is I can't tell if Dabi's skin is like normal skin and he's wearing the purple stuff on top of his skin, or if his skin is all the burnt purple stuff and he's wearing human skin on top of it, like human skin gloves and a human skin mask. I don't know. And an alternate theory I saw that was actually cool to the whole Dabi is Toya theory, is that Dabi's quirk is to use the quirks of people whose skin he wears, so he actually killed Toya and is wearing Toya's skin. Now I think that would be cool, but it would be super unlikely. And it would also make sense as to the whole Ujiko thing. Maybe he has Ujiko's skin on him, and that's how he uses that quirk that that All for One used. But yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Also, another reason it doesn't make much sense is that his villain name is Dabi. His villain name is Cremation. Dabi is just Japanese for cremation. So his villain name is Cremation. If that were his quirk, his villain name would probably be like Patchwork or something like that. Also, for that chapter, who the hell is Ujiko? And how does Ujiko have a quirk? Because All for One used that quirk. So shouldn't that mean that Ujiko doesn't have it anymore? How does Ujiko have a quirk? This is one of the most confusing things to me. that I hope we get an explanation for eventually. Dobby says he came to reclaim High-End, which makes me assume that either High-End is alive somehow, or that High-End can be revived somehow. And I honestly hope that. Not because I'm just not just because I'm a High-End fanboy, I totally am. But it's not just because of that. It's because I think having multiple High-Ends is just too much for the story. I think having one sentient Nomu be kind of the special snowflake Nomu that has sentience still is the best way to write it. I think having multiple sentient Nomu just would be too much. I think it should be a one-time deal with High-End. Miruko, I love. Absolute queen, goddess. Probably best girl already for me. It's between her and Shino or Mandalay. Mandalay is just damn. Mandalay Miruko fighting over best girl for me. And then yeah, I still think that Rey visiting Endeavor in the hospital would have been a great twist on the normal way a story like this would be written. That didn't happen, but I'm still excited to see what their relationship can be in the future. Again, like Endeavor said, not expecting forgiveness, but it'd be cool to see what does happen. So yeah, that's it for Boku no Hero Academia, I guess. Hope you enjoyed this a little bit old discussion. Next up, we got a tiny little bit of Monmusu to talk about, and Nikos said, so was it mentioned where the hometown of the Lamias is located in the world? It would make sense that if it was in Greece, since the Lamias originate from Greek mythology, like centaurs. Plus, it'd be hilarious if it turned out that both Mia and Centauria are from the same country without being aware of it. Also, sure, man, I'd personally like to see you continue making reviews of the chapters if you have enough things to say about them. I've decided, unless I'm like super busy or don't have a lot to say, I will keep making reviews of the chapters just because I want to talk about Monmusu more. And also, in the review for this chapter, I talked about your comment and that I think it'd be cool. And I think there's some credence to lend to that, because I'm trying to think if I got confused about a thing. Sorry. Because Mia said that her home was thousands of kilometers away. So from Japan, we're assuming Karus lives there. I think we can basically definitely say he lives in Japan. So thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers from there, it's obviously outside of Japan. And Lala's head ends up going to Italy, which is kind of near Greece. So it makes me think that it's very, very possible that it's somewhere Mediterranean. Maybe it's Greece, or maybe it's just somewhere near there, but I have a feeling that we got some good hints that it's around that area. But Centauria, I can't remember if they said that the centaurs are Japanese, because I'm pretty sure in a lot of mythological things, Japan has centaurs too, I think. So I think that Saria might be Japanese, but I'm not sure. I feel like I'm getting this confused with Centaur no Naomi, where the centaurs are naturally natively from Japan. So I might be getting things confused. I don't totally remember Saria's whole backstory, but I feel like maybe centaurs are from Japan. I'm not sure. Not sure personally. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for your comment. And thank you everyone for sticking through this short Monmusu discussion. Okay, and here we have the Tower of God section, which is going to be forever. Sorry about the random, probably lighting and clothing change, but I'm recording this like 2 days after I recorded that first part. And in addition to that, this is gonna be probably longer than I want it to be. I'd like this to be like 30 minutes so that we can have like a 1 hour video overall maybe. But this is probably maybe gonna be longer than 30 minutes. So the way that this is all going down is that I was way behind on comments because I haven't done a HaQ&A in a long time, but there were a lot that I wanted to put in a HaQ&A. So for the past like month or so, these are all comments from the past like month or so that are things that aren't like outdated, hopefully, after reading the most recent chapter. I compiled these last week and then this week after the most recent chapter. I went through all these to make sure that none of them had become obsolete, that they could all still be discussed. So what I'm saying is that these aren't super new comments, but they're still topics that merit discussion for sure. And there are ones that I didn't want to leave out, and there's still ones that I don't really want to leave out that I haven't gotten to yet. So basically, none of these are from last week or this current week. So next week's HaQ&A will have maybe even more older ones like these, in addition to the ones from last week and the ones from this week, and maybe the ones from next week too. Who knows? It's just that I'm so far behind that I'm catching up week by week with these HaQ&As. But yeah, I just have an inordinate amount, a huge, just freaking. I have 4 pages in very tiny font, 4 pages in Word of just comments and sort of the points I want to hit to discuss each of them and reply to each of them. So yeah, there is just a shit ton to talk about here. So let's talk about all of them. The first thing I wanted to bring up was something that I got a ton of different comments about, so instead of just picking one specific comment, or sort of, because yeah, I'd be picking one even though there were a bunch asking about the same thing, a ton of people said, so if these orders that we have, Zahard's 3 orders, go down, and the army was to go after the Pobedao family, would everyone follow the orders, or would some of the 10 families and some of the 10 family heads split with Zahard there? Because we know that when Zahard went after, well, that was basically the question, or the topic, but we know that when Zahard went after V and Arlen and they had their civil war there, that everybody decided to side with Zahard because they saw the way that things were going to end. Zahard was going to win in the end. So if this happened and they were going against the Pobedao family, it's difficult to say, but if we're going by precedent, then maybe everybody would still be like, well, Zahard's going to beat the Pobedao family, so we'll stick with Zahard. So I would say from the past and what we know of the past, it makes sense that just about everyone would follow his orders even if they didn't want to. But it's also true that a lot of the families don't seem particularly loyal to Zahard, and I guess they are kind of just following him out of fear and out of the knowledge that he would win in that sort of fight. So it is an interesting topic, but that was something that I had got a lot, just asking me if I thought like some of them would stand with the Pobedao family or follow Zahard's orders. I would think follow Zahard's orders logically, but it is a fictional story, so some of them might be like, well, Pobedao Gustang has Bomb working with him now, and he's an irregular, they can maybe take Zahard out, so maybe some people would flip and turn to that side, but I don't think entire families would. I don't think it would be a complete split civil war, because if it would have been something like that, we probably would have had that happen when he went after V and Arlen. And next up, I guess kind of first up, Shadow. So I'm going to try to get through these kind of quickly because it is 4 pages, but I don't even think it's possible to get through all of this kind of quickly. Shadow Lugia 18011 said, I really like your idea of Masheni teaming up with Jinsung, but I'm hyped for a fight between them, and I'd be happy if it would go either way. I think the existence of Charlie is hilarious. His design was made incredibly extravagant and attention-getting, not to mention he's the first named ranker we've seen in a while. We couldn't help but be interested in the character, who they kill off the next chapter. To me, Charlie is or was the joke that we all fell for, a way of showing us something we thought was important, but in reality was absolutely insignificant. And I wanted to throw this in, and yeah, I made my notes actually, and at least included this before we saw that he was still alive, and I wanted to add this in because I completely agree. I think that's a really cool concept or idea, but it turns out Charlie's alive, so I guess that kind of screws over that idea. But yeah, the idea that they introduced this big, extravagant ranker character and then immediately kill him off in concept is great, but it turns out we didn't get that, so I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed he died because we don't really know anything about him, or disappointed he didn't die, but, you know, I liked this idea, and then the idea just didn't pan out. Shadow Lugia 18011 also said, wait, hold on. Okay, yeah. I really like the Machete Ginsling fight that we got to see. I like the technique water drop. It makes me think of a drop of blood dissipating into a bowl of water. I think Evan keeping Kun alive with an item is a good way to deal with the Kun death fake out for now, and it looks like healing Kun's going to be a driving plot force for the next arc or so. Bomb's definitely going to save Rack, but as far as the Fitbit Thorn trade goes, neither of them have gotten the Fitbit to Gustang yet, so it's possible they can still fight over who can return it first. And that is still true. But I think, talking first about the Kun and Evan stuff, I think this is good because it gives us an opportunity for Rack to be in the foreground and get some much needed development, and for Kun, who's already had a ton of development, even recently he had a lot of development in the Hidden Floor, we get Kun, and he gets to be the damsel in distress for a little bit, which allows him to still be a main feature in the story. He still gets to be a main character, but while he's just sitting around in suspended animation, we can have the other characters get some screen time so that they can grow a bit. And then, as for the Thorn stuff, the way I saw it, there were, how many options did I think? There were like 4 options I would have thought beforehand that could have gone, and we kind of saw which one, or kind of combination of 2 of them that CU went for. But my 4 ideas of the way that situation could have gone were Bomb would take the Fitbit from Rachel, Rachel would keep the Fitbit, and Bomb would not keep his word about the Thorn Fragment. Rachel would keep the Fitbit, and then Bomb would keep his word and give her the second Thorn Fragment, or Rachel would keep the Fitbit, and Bomb's already fused with the Thorn Fragment, so it can't be removed even if he wanted it to be. And it seems like a combination of C and D there, kind of, or kind of B and D there, kind of, because Rachel kept it, but she doesn't really know that she kept it, and with Bomb not knowing that she kept it, it makes it so that, or wait, Rachel, yeah, does Rachel know? I don't think she does. No, just the Minazuki took it and she doesn't know. But with Bomb not knowing that she actually took it, it makes it so that we don't have that conflict of whether or not he's going to keep his word, which would be the good thing to do, but then he'd lose the Thorn Fragment, or him having a way to keep the Thorn Fragment without also having to break his word, which would be kind of un-Bomb-like. So, CU found a way to kind of write between the lines there, have your cake and eat it too, have Bomb keep the Thorn Fragment, but also have Bomb not kind of fall to the dark side. And then Martin Paletti says, I think I started reading Tower of God around 2013 most likely. If you do a reread of the series, you should do some videos after the chapters if it's not that much work, and give your impressions on how the story's evolved since then. I started rereading it too. There's a lot I forgot. Like I said, I've reread a ton. I want to reread again. And that was something I'd asked one chapter, is when everybody started reading the series. And when I do reread the series, I'm not sure about individual chapters because there's so many. And even Martin Paletti, they had clarified they meant arcs, not chapters. But yeah, I couldn't do chapters because that's too many. But I'm thinking maybe, I already said before that I'm going to do a favorite arcs video and a favorite characters video once I do another reread. But another thing I was thinking is, I don't know how to do this, because I want to do some videos maybe reviewing or discussing arc by arc, but I just kind of thought too, now that I'm just thinking of this right off the top of my head right now. I talked recently in the comments a little bit about how CU went on like I think it was like between 3 or 5 months, somewhere in that span of time, 3 to 5 months. He went on a hiatus between Hell Train and Workshop Battle and Hell Train, to go in chronological order. But there was a huge 3 to 5 month gap with no chapters at all. So I actually might not immediately do those arc reviews when I reread. I might reread it, And then if after Hell Train we're taking another big hiatus, which could be possible. I know all of us would hope not. I just wish you would take more frequent breaks. So like maybe 1 week off a month would make it so much easier and we wouldn't have to take a big hiatus. But if CU does decide to take another big hiatus between Hell Train and whatever else comes next, then I might save it. And then, since we wouldn't have the live reaction and review 2 Tower of God videos every single week, that would completely disappear from the channel, which is built very highly. Well, we have a huge variety, and I'm very thankful for that on the channel. But Tower of God is kind of part of the backbone. It's one of the more central series here. And because of that, I feel like just going with no videos whatsoever would be, like, really terrible. So I might just save it. And then during that time, when we have that break and whatever, if he does have another hiatus, I'll just do that. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I'll do arc reviews for the previous arcs while we're waiting for the hiatus to end and Tower of God to come back. If there's another hiatus after Hell Train, which I do get the feeling there very well could be. Next up is Slayer nominee, and something about Slayer nominee. They left one comment that said that, at least I believe this was them, that said they had been watching for a while, but this was their first time commenting, and they had a question. And all the time that I was struggling and falling behind on comments and stuff, and having a bit of a rough time, I talked about all this in the beginning. I kept thinking, I was like, man, I really want to answer this person, and I just never got around to it, But thankfully, I've seen a bunch more comments from them since then. I've been able to answer some of them since then. So, really thankful for your comments, and I'm sorry I didn't get to that first one, but I probably will get to it eventually. I'm trying to go back, and whenever I get caught up with current comments, I go back as far as I can and answer any that I missed, so I will try to get to them eventually. But this comment in particular says, so now 2 high rankers from FUG have been targeted and attacked by Zahard's forces. The King of the Tower moves pretty quickly. The fact that he has mobilized forces at the 91st floor and the 2nd floor means there are already rankers ready to invade the Hell Train and attack everyone there. I think you were right that Bomb and Rachel's fight will be interrupted. Concerning why Misheni would warn Jinsung that the Hell Train was being targeted, I think I have a pretty good idea. I've read that people think she's concerned about Aguro, but we have no idea if those two have any kind of relationship. My thinking goes back to the bet she made with Yuri for the Green April. If Zahard's forces succeed on killing everyone on the Hell Train, they'll recover both Black March and Green April from Yuri, and Misheni will lose her chance of having another of the 13-month series. It's for her own selfish motives. She does not care about killing FUG, at least not at the moment. What's her plan? She's a coon, so she's clearly got something in mind. Can't wait to see Yuan Sung in action. He's clever and heartless. This should be a great fight. Hopefully he won't die. He and Kun have unfinished business. I find myself rooting for FUG lately. I've been Team FUG for a while now. They might have some of them may have gone about things wrong in the past, but generally they seem to be much more good than Zahard. Zahard's empire really, really sucks. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that the reason Misheni helped Jinsung and told Jinsung about what's going on, now that we know that's what she did and what her plan was, is because of that bet. Because she wants Yuri to kind of make it to a certain degree so that she can win that bet and get one of the 13-month series. Because if they took them from Yuri, they'd probably just give them to 2 princes who had none, and then Misheni would lose what she has to think would be a prime chance to win. Because, like you said, she's part of the Kun family. She probably wouldn't just make a bet unless she really believed she had a chance to win. So that's what I'm thinking there. Anything that I missed in there? So I do definitely think that's the case. With you asking what her plan is, like what the end goal might be, we know that collecting all of the 13-month series is half of the key. So with that being, like, if you collect, I don't know how many rings there are. We've never been told how many rings there are. But if there are 13 month series, then maybe there are 13 rings and you have to collect all 26 to make the key. So there's a certain amount of rings you have to collect, and you have to collect all the 13 month series. And currently it seems like nobody is anywhere close to succeeding at this. And the two closest, I guess, would be... Doesn't Garam have 13 months? So I guess that'd be Garam and Yuri. So Masheni would be tied for the closest if she got a second one. So I think that would probably be the end goal, is to try to collect as many 13-month series as possible to create the key and rise up past Zahard himself. And we know that it's not just her, but there's this sort of kind of civil war among princesses, and this might be because some of the princesses want to gather all these 13 months, create their key, and try to ascend past Zahard, take the power into their own hands, essentially. And we've seen that that is possible, because there are princesses that are stronger than 10 family head members. We have Adori and who else was it? Adori and Eurasia N, who are both ranked 7, which is above 2 or 3 of the 13 months, or 2 would be above everyone except for Arie Hone and Edwan. So yeah, they're clearly very, very strong princesses, and if they decided they wanted to try to move up past Zahard, I think it could be potentially possible. Next up, Coolfu270 said, I counted how many FUG members there are, high rankers there are, 7 that we know of. Luzlek and White, Madarako and Ha-Jinsung, Yuansung, Evankel, and Augustus. Zahard has 10 anti-high ranker weapons, 1 damaged by Jinsung. Yuansung's being executed, so FUG would have 6 high rankers left, and they need 3 more to fight Zahard's army. Don't forget, Zahard can probably send an army of rankers and high rankers. I'm way too excited to see more rankers and high rankers. They always have cool designs and weapons. I still remember Ren's light shield and Shinsu cannon. Is this the first time we've seen Ha-Yuri use her blue stars to attack? I always thought they were decorations. And the scale is way, way, way larger than that. Zahard's probably got a ton, like nearly all the rankers under his control, and of course the high rankers. I just remembered something I forgot. After this comment I'll get to it, but I just remembered something that I forgot to say in the review this week. So after this comment I'll get to that. But the scale's probably huger than that, because Zahard has all those rankers, plus high rankers. He has like 70-ish red members. I forgot which number Ren was, but Ren was the last of them. But so I think he was 76, so like 76 red members. Then the princesses, who are all very, very strong, and of course the 10 family heads, and probably some of their top members are super strong too. But on the other side, some of the princesses and 10 families probably might have members that might defect for their own reasons, like what Masheni's doing. Plus, FUG has a bunch of high rankers that aren't slayers, but are stronger than basically anyone who isn't a top princess or 10 family member. Like Yuan Sung and Ha-Jinsung, especially Ha-Jinsung being in the top 100. Unless somebody is one of the best princesses or one of the strongest people in the 10 families, they aren't going to be able to beat these people that are just working for FUG, not even having the stake in the place, or the stake in FUG of being a ranker. Or not ranker, but slayer. So there's all that, plus of course the 11 slayers, of which we don't know how many there actually are, because there can't be 11 yet, because Bomb was planned to be one of them. Well, actually, White said he was the 10th commander in... So, wouldn't that make White younger than Karaka, though? It's kind of weird, and I thought Karaka was the most recent. So it's kind of weird, but White said he was the 10th commander, and if there are supposed to be 11 slayers, maybe Bomb is supposed to be the 11th, and he's supposed to be the final slayer. I don't know. Anything else? Oh yeah, plus if they get into a fight and stuff, the slayers aren't just super powerful, but they're specifically chosen to be slayers because they break the rules in some way. Like Karaka has prince status, whatever that means. He has one of the rings. Yama has the blood fusion experimentation. White has the cursed powers and is technically a regular with the powers of a high ranker right now. Bomb is an irregular. What is it? Arlen, not Arlen, but Grace, Merche Luslek, is somehow the relative of somebody from outside of the tower. So shouldn't that make them also an irregular, in a sense? So I guess we can assume that Grace Merche Luslek's also an irregular? I guess they have to be if they're related to a member of one of the 13 warriors. But it also makes sense, I've said this before, is that we're assuming irregulars are super, super rare, and they are, but we're assuming that the ones we've heard of are all there are. There could be a bunch of other irregulars that we haven't even heard of yet. So who knows what other irregulars we might run into. So there is all of that, all the cheating stuff on FUG's side too. Also, with bringing up Evankel, I was saying back then, it's been kind of confirmed now, that I don't really think Evankel's like an FUG member or was working with FUG. I think Yuan Sung was working with FUG, but they were kind of just undercover, and Evankel was kind of an independent who didn't really follow orders. And that's kind of how it turned out, seemingly, that Evankel is just an independent who doesn't follow orders, and Yuan Sung was the one that's part of FUG. And then as for what you said about Yura, I'm pretty sure we've seen the stars used before in battle, but I would have to reread. But if I were to say go somewhere and check, I would say look around the Wooden Horse arc, around that area in the story. We might have seen that. Anything else? No. Okay. Oh, also, they brought up too, they said, it came to them that the stars might be her Shinsu quality, because we know that Shinsu quality can be hereditary, and that Yura's father and brother both had those blue stars around them too. So yeah, that makes sense that her Shinsu quality and color would be blue and star-shaped. So next, oh, before I get into the next comment, the thing I forgot to mention about rankers and high rankers and stuff, we got the term advanced ranker thrown at us last week, and a lot of us were discussing and trying to guess what it was, and I said in the live reaction and then again in the review that my best guess would be that it was the top 10% of rankers, so there'd be about 10,000 of them. Then I read this week a clarification from last week. One of the Chinese translators for Tower of God actually messaged and asked CU what he meant by it, and CU confirmed that it is the top 10% or around 10,000. So that's what advanced ranker is. Ranker, top 100,000 people in the tower, top 10,000 people in the tower would be advanced rankers, and top 1,000 are high rankers. So yeah, that's the hierarchy we've got going here. So I wonder if we should have a new term for the top 100 or top 10. That might be getting too specific though. But Kulfu270 says, I think Rowan's interruption might be a better explanation than the soul giveaway for why the rules don't really work anymore for White. Anyway, I thought of a theory recently. I want an opinion on this. I noticed how Rachel always got what she wanted in every arc or every major event. She eliminated Bomb in Season 1, got Emily in the workshop battle, so she should probably get something from the Hell Train arc as well. The reason why she boarded the train was to A, to get a thorn, B, to get White to be her sword, and since the thorn pieces are for Bomb, I doubt Rachel's going to get any of those, so she'll probably end up with White this time around. I think it'd be something like this. White's going to be revived, because I want to see that, plus they need help for the rankers. Then White's going to get defeated, Rachel gets them, and then they escape. I think her plan with White would be related to Emily, just a speculation. If White was weakened, that would explain how he got defeated. I have another theory on why Madaraka wanted the soul-stirring ladle. Basically, it's to make a new stage of living ignition weapon to replace the irregular living ignition weapon he planned to make. We've learned about the White stuff now, and that he's not just going to get defeated and Rachel's going to get him, but I think that there are two really good points in this here. The first being that if he was weakened, it would explain how he got defeated. With him being a regular that's now got, well, technically a regular, but with high ranker powers, and he's running around and using this to his advantage and stuff, I think it's really important to note that, because it's why he went to the Hell Train from the very beginning, and this was something that people brought up in comments this week, so I'll probably talk about it again next time or something, maybe in more detail. But he went on the Hell Train at first because he was being hunted by one of the Zahard's princesses, and of course rankers can't attack regulars there, so that's where he hid out and split himself apart to try to eat some souls and gain energy before he fused back together and left the train again. And then of course Rowan screwed that all up by trapping them there, and now that's been broken because Bomb breaks all the rules, and after he left the hidden floor, all the rules are just screwed. But yeah, I think the most important part, of course, is the idea of Madarako wanting the soul-stirring ladle to make a new living ignition weapon. That makes a lot of sense, because we know that Madarako wants this soul-stirring ladle, and we don't know why, but there is that connection there. Madarako was trying to make a living ignition weapon, so that's basically the only connection I would have, other than the fact that I feel like just about anybody would want the soul-stirring ladle. But the big thing is that Madarako would, I don't know how to put this, Madarako would, like, have to be giving up a thorn fragment for something, so it would have to be something that's so valuable to them personally that they're willing to give up a thorn fragment. And I think the ability to make a a living ignition weapon using the ladle is probably something big enough to give up the thorn fragment over. So next up is a point, because it's something that I have seen a lot in comments and it was annoying me at the time. There are no 3 races, and there is no connection between Yura and the native ones, at least not a known one. I got so many comments working off working off the presupposition, I guess, that there are 3 races. So many people brought this shit up, and I reread to be sure because so many people were bringing this up, and they're like, oh, there's 3 races of the hidden ones. There's Akkas and then Yuras, and there was this 3rd silhouette, and they never mentioned 3 races there. They just showed 3 silhouettes and when they were talking about Yura's family, and then somehow Yura's family and the native ones got conflated, even though the 2 were 2 completely different things that got 2 completely different explanations. The native ones, or the ancient ones, I think is actually what they were called. I just keep calling them native ones. I kept calling them that in the review. Was the descendants of the giant and all that. And then Yura's family is this different cursed family that's both male and female, because everybody was going, oh, Evankel has to be both male and female, and that's because they have Ancient One power, and that means they're also part of Yura's family, when these are 2 completely separate things, and showing 3 silhouettes doesn't make things 3 different races. Like, it's just ridiculous how this is a problem that I've brought up a lot in the past with the Tower of God fandom, how so many people will latch on to something that's just some random theory that they have with no evidence whatsoever, and it will become just, they treat it like fact. They come up with a theory and treat their theory like fact. And the biggest problem that this came to, and the thing that I would compare it to, is it's the bomb as a Shinsu creation of Enryu thing all over again for months, like a while back. And I brought it up a bunch when it was happening a while back, but for months I would constantly have comments just talking down to me. You don't believe bomb is a you don't believe that bomb is a Shinsu creation of Enryu? I write 4,000 word essays on the chapter on Reddit every week, and you know, I think that all the evidence is there, and you're stupid if you don't believe this. And I would get so many comments and so many theories and discussions, all basing their thoughts on, oh yeah, bomb's obviously a Shinsu creation of Enryu. It becomes a theory, and then everyone treats it treats it as if it's an actual fact. And hey, guess what? Turns out Bomb's past came to light, and that wasn't true whatsoever. It was completely wrong, and everyone was just acting like that was confirmed fact for the longest time. So that was one of the more annoying things, and now the new 3 races and Yura's family somehow being related to the Ancient Ones is that same thing all over again. It's a new annoyance. So, yeah, hold on. I was going to say something else about the bomb as the Shinsu creation of Enryu theory thing again, but yeah, I forget what it was. But yeah, that theory is obviously not correct, because we have Bomb's backstory now. And I think it makes me love Bomb's backstory even more that it's not that. So yeah, that was so annoying at the time, because the entire time I'm trying to say to everyone, there is no evidence of that. We have nothing to say that Bomb is a Shinsu creation of Enryu. And it was just like, you were treated as if you were stupid for not just presupposing this thing that wasn't true to begin with. Next up, I got another comment from Slayer nominee, who, oh gosh, this one's kind of long, so I'm going to struggle through this one a little bit, but Slayer nominee says, okay, so first things first, the panel with Evan and her spirit animal Ancient reminds me so much of God of High School, which is another webtoon if you haven't read any of it. In that manhwa, people use borrowed powers that are derived from gods. Secondly, I was excited to see a Guardian in action besides a flashback to the 43rd floor Guardian being manhandled by Enryu. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in one of your videos did you say that Guardians are chained permanently to their own floors and are not allowed to leave? If this is because of... Okay, I'll break it down. I'll answer part by part. So, I don't remember saying that, but I do think that's true. I mean, we've never seen a Guardian leave their floor, so I think they are just endemic there and they can't leave to go anywhere else. I would guess that's true. I don't have any proof that it was said anywhere right now, but that seems like it would be true. But they continue, if this is because of Zahard, I can see why it would help to send, or why it would send help to Bomb's team, supposedly being that'll bring change to the tower. I think that it probably did that because it met Bomb when he was at the 2nd floor and it liked him. And I think that it probably doesn't like Zahard because of how he subjugated the tower and kind of screwed up the whole ecosystem of things. But they continue on. Third, if this is going to be the conclusion to the 2nd season soon, it's going to be one crazy climax. I completely missed the several months later, but I think it'll allow everyone to finally gather and prepare. Yuan-Sung and Evan-Kel using the Warp Gate, Bomb and Rachel's former team combining forces, maybe Joaquin will be complete next time we see him, and Ha Jin-Sung possibly showing up. There could be so many moving parts, primarily White betraying everyone to complete a spell and taking the remaining souls on the train. He's pretty self-serving. Having an FUG high ranker like Ha Jin-Sung could keep him in check, maybe. Yuri will have to pick sides, which I think will be pretty interesting to watch. I can honestly see her being torn between the two. Okay, so actually they separated this into parts, which makes things so much easier on me. But yeah, I totally agree. White, I said in the review for this week's chapter that I'm like, White is really, really cool and badass, but also pretty dangerous in that if he ran away from the rankers onto the station, none of the regulars could stand up to him, so he could just eat all their souls now that he's like high ranker powered. So he's definitely dangerous if he just decides to betray them. But I think he's had some really cool character development to where he's still not really a good person, but he's at least not as evil as he once was, maybe. And also it'll be interesting to see what happens with Yuri from now on. Technically, if they follow the orders, they have to kill her, but at the same time, from what we know, Yuri's one of Zahard's favorites, I think. So, it'll be interesting to see when the army sees her, if they're like, immediately, oh, we have to kill her, or if they think to themselves for a while, can we kill her? It'll be interesting to see how they react when they find out she's on the train. And they said fourth, but not so importantly, I feel bad for Karaka. He's the newest Slayer, and they're all supposed to be extremely powerful and dangerous. but this person's had tough opponents so far to make him look slightly weak. Yuri took no damage from his attacks. Sidebar, Bomb didn't seem scared of him and even threatened him if he hurt his friends. And Masano only used 5% of his strength and made Karaka's super cool sounding attack look like nothing. I hope he destroys in the upcoming battle. I think Karaka is super strong, but yeah, like you said, he has just had the unfortunate luck of being the only people we really have to compare Karaka to, like head to head, is somebody who's in the top 100 and top 500 with Evan and Yuri going after him, and with somebody that is in the top 5, top 3, hell even. Or no, Mazano's 4, never mind, top 4. So, I guess, I don't know. I guess that I think Karaka's pretty strong, but at the same time, I think the strength lies more in ability than in actual, just pure Yurik Mazano strength. Because while his strength was nothing compared to Yurik Mazano, he has survived meeting up with all them and being attacked with all them. He can essentially respawn himself, which is completely OP. Plus he has a lot of OP kind of like side abilities. If somebody falls for this certain thing, even if they're stronger than him, he can still kind of find a way to beat them. So I think Karaka's strength more lies in his variety of different weird abilities than in his actual like physical or Shinsu strength. Next up, Future Guy 2045 says, I'm really happy about the fact that we have regulars for Bomb's team to fight, along with the rankers and high rankers fighting each other. I was worried the enemies would be way too OP for Bomb to be able to do anything against. Luckily that's not the case, although what possible threat could any regular pose to Bomb at this point? He'll probably wreck them. Hopefully we get at least one special regular enemy as a challenge, maybe the captain of the ship sponsored by Zahard. Also, since Bomb's learning how to use the second Thorn, who else thinks he'll end up either teleporting himself or everyone in order to escape by the end of this fight? And they continued, I think the ever-curious Levy will be the special enemy for Bomb. He's being sponsored by Zahard after all. He must be really powerful. I'm personally, and I've brought this up a bunch in the reviews and stuff, really glad that CU thought of a way, with this station being a regulars only place, bringing in sponsored regulars as an idea, having the army come there, having a way where the rankers could fight and we could have that, but there's also a threat that Bomb's group could fight against instead of just running away from the rankers. Because one of Floor of Death's problems, and Floor of Death had a bunch of problems, but one of the big ones was that we had all these enemies that were so strong that all these rankers were fighting while Bomb's group either just had to run and hide around or act as support. So there weren't any really cool big moments for Bomb's group. Also, I think that there are definitely always more opportunities for regulars to fight and challenge Bomb. Like, everybody keeps saying, oh, Bomb can't handle, or Bomb's too much for normal regulars, but Bomb was just pushed to his limits not that long ago by Daniel, and then pushed to his limits again by Joaquin, and then again by Kaiser, and then again by the regular version of Zahard. So Bomb is special and really strong, but there are a lot of other special and really strong people too. But that said, even though I think people could push Bomb to his limit, Bomb's pretty protected by plot armor. I don't expect anyone to actually beat him. If he loses a fight and gets a setback like that, I'm going to be pretty damn surprised. I think, I don't know, the biggest setbacks I can think of are Daniel kind of kicking his ass and getting ahead of him at the original station when they first get on the Hell Train, Revolution Road, and then Bomb catching up and having to go full Crazy Thorn mode. So that's maybe the biggest setback Bomb has had. And that's not even a real defeat. Either that or Kaiser taking him to his absolute limit. I wouldn't say Joaquin was really a setback. He didn't really face a big loss to Joaquin. Not that he did any of the others, but they at least, I feel like maybe, though the Bomb Joaquin fight was my favorite, the Bomb Kaiser fight is actually really close, and the Bomb Daniel one was pretty good too. But I think that both of those pushed Bomb to the limit more than Joaquin. And I think that may also have to do with the fact that before Bomb could get pushed to the limit, he got the soul power up. So there is that. Then I guess that's it for that comment. Coolfu2, and we're getting on to the last of the 4 pages. Wow. Coolfu270 said, Bunny's team, that makes sense. They made so many mistakes this chapter. Sponsorship's the long-term solution to introduce Bomb to worthy opponents without fighting rankers. Because right now, it seems readers are quite divided. Hold on, let me grab some water. My voice is like really stopping. Haven't gotten water this whole time. That may have been my problem. Because right now readers are quite divided on whether Bomb can fight a ranker or not. If Bomb fights a ranker now, a lot of people will be pissed no matter the result. Also, they said, I'd rather have Baro than Boro. He's not exceptionally strong, not mysterious or plot-related, and he didn't even do that well as a comic relief. Unlike Baro, whose power's still a mystery, she has an ignition weapon she never used, plus her character design's way more interesting than Boro. I hope we get to see Sachi again, but not in Bomb's team. Lisu's team or Novik's team would be better. Novik had no wave controller in the team anyway. Okay, so starting from the beginning, yeah, the Bunny team instead of Benny's team, I think that was just another translation error. There was that one chapter, and I think that's what this comment was from, but there was that one chapter recently where there were just a ton of mistakes, and the translation was really struggling that week. But I kind of hate, and I feel like, again, I compared it in my reply to them to the Bomb as a Shinsu creation of Enryu thing all over again. Tsuyu has said multiple times that regulars are nothing compared to rankers, and that Bomb is only a small portion of his way through his journey to becoming a ranker. So really, the only argument for Bomb being able to fight a ranker is just based on purposefully ignoring the story to push your own theory as a reality. Because even recently in the blog, Tsuyu addressed it and even said that Bomb is not able to fight rankers yet, or Bomb is not a rankers level. That rankers are way stronger than regulars, and Bomb's only like 30% of the way up the tower or something. So he isn't going to be able to do that anytime soon, but he will get there. So yeah, it's like the Bomb's a Shinsu creation of Enryu thing again. It's just people ignoring Tsuyu and the actual writing of the story to push their own theories. Then anything after that? Oh yeah, for Boro. Boro is a character that was really, really great, and he was really, really great for a good bit of a while, and then Tsuyu dropped the ball really hard in Floor of Death. Floor of Death ruined so many things for me. But no, Boro, the ball was dropped on him very hard in Floor of Death. I think that's when he really, really started being a comic relief character out of nowhere, when that wasn't a part of who he was at all before that. And it's not like he slowly became that. It was like out of nowhere he went from Boro before to a completely different personality Boro. So as much as I love Tsuyu and his writing, nobody's perfect, and I think that's one thing that Tsuyu mucked up, was Boro was a great character, and then all of a sudden his entire character changed out of nowhere. I still think he can be written as a great character again, but it would take some work at this point. The Lazy One said, hold on, sorry. Lazy One said, I have 2 questions. Why didn't Boro and Haku tell Bomb about Akraptor and Prince's death? It's been a month. Second, do you think Bomb wanting to protect everyone's going to blow up in his face because he can't protect everyone? I think it might change him for better or worse. From what we know, we don't know if Bomb's been told or not. They could have told him off screen. They could still be saying he's not ready yet. So I can't say either way. We don't have any information. So yeah, no idea. But for the second question, since it's kind of an opinion thing, since it's more of a what I think thing, but I think that we don't need Bomb to struggle with trying to protect everyone anymore because we've already gotten that. I would say look at Revolutionary Road and Name Hunt Station. But before, we've already had this happen. We've already had him wanting to protect everyone, it blowing up in his face. He wanted to bring up Rachel from floor 3. He wanted to bring up Rachel from floor 2, and we saw how that went, how it ended. And I think if he totally gave up on saving everyone, he wouldn't be the same Bomb. In 2 arcs where they really brought it up a lot, I just mentioned Revolution Road and Name Hunt Station. Revolutionary Road, Bomb at the prodding of Warrion gathered allies that he didn't care about bringing up the tower with him, and it made him feel terrible. He learned that just using people to climb and throwing them away isn't something I'm willing to continue doing. It isn't something that I want to do. And then in Name Hunt Station again, kind of that same stuff from Revolutionary Road came to a head where he talks to Kun on the floating ship, where he's like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be the slayer that they want me to be. I don't want to be used by somebody else. I don't want to climb over people and throw people away to climb the tower. And Kun's advice to him is basically, you know, do you, be Bomb, be who you are. If that means carrying up everybody with you, then do it. If that means being a slayer or not being a slayer, do whatever you would want to do, and stop thinking about what everybody else wants of you all the time. And that's when Bomb kind of made his decision to not sort of be the kind of person like Warrion said and have allies that he'd throw away, but to, it kind of reaffirmed what he already wanted to do, bringing everybody up with him. Which again shows that it's another contrast between him and Zahard, where Zahard put everybody down and subjugated everyone to climb over them to reach the top. Bomb's not just climbing, but he's bringing everyone with him, and he's raising the bar for everyone. Next up, and I think this is last actually, hang on. Yeah, Future Guy 2045 says, I love the idea of Bomb and Co joining together to make a crew. I always wanted them to finally climb together, but I thought it was unrealistic due to the teams we've seen, and I thought the test wouldn't allow a team of that size. Plus, CU would have to juggle all those characters at the same time. But now that we've seen these crews, it shows that it's possible. And they could always separate for short periods to focus on different characters, but the idea of Bomb being able to climb the rest of the tower with his friends and making his own crew that grows as they go is just awesome. Maybe he'll form his own organization similar to Hike Song or FUG. And then Kai of Mores said, I think they already work as a crew, they just don't have any kind of symbol or anything. And Easton Co said, you've got a point, but they did have to, you have a point, but they did have to split, but now's probably the time it'll become something concrete. And yeah, I think Bomb and his allies have already worked similar to a crew. They're all allies, but they've kind of switched up members between teams a bunch. But I'd like to see them make it an official thing and maybe become something like Hike Song or FUG, but make it an official thing where they have this current group that Bomb has with him, plus bring Wangnan back, bring in Horyang, maybe even Kasano, get Yuan Danhua back. Oh yeah, when Horyang comes back, Goseng would be back probably. Team Ship, Team Novik, Chang, Quattro, Elliot, and Angel. Maybe even, and these other things I would say to add in are just maybes. Maybe if Daniel or Akka returned, which I don't know if they will or not. See, I didn't think they would, but if Boro and Sachi are still going along, then Daniel and Akka could, and they could be the people we saw in that one panel last week that were in the robes, possibly. Since there was one big one and one smaller one that looked like they had light-colored hair. And then also if Hana and Felix came back somehow, it would be really, really cool. Because I always felt bad for them because they were the teammates that Bomb got and threw away. So bring back Hana and Felix, poor teammates. And then Elaine, if Elaine ever shows up again, which I think Elaine very well could. I think it'd be good of her to join Bomb's team. So yeah, and then each arc we could just have the team switch up a bit. So we could get different characters getting different screen time each arc, or every few arcs. So, yeah, that is it, and it's basically an hour of Tower of God. Jeez, this is going to be a long-ass video. But I kind of knew it was going to end up this way. Sorry I'm losing my voice, and sorry I struggled through some of these, but not all of them I had very many notes for, so I kind of thought off the top of my head for a bunch of them. But yeah, that's it. Please give more comments if you want me to discuss more things. I'll be adding in more comments, especially the recent ones from the past 2 weeks, for next week's HaQ&A, since we're doing this weekly now. But that's it. Thank you once again for watching. So like if you did like the video, comment down there anything you want me to talk about or anything like that, or any thoughts on what I had to say. Subscribe for more Tower of God and everything else I discussed here, plus much more, and please give comments on more things too, please, so we can get some more variety in here. Even though I love talking about Tower of God, I want to talk about other things too. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. If you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, then just ask and I'll give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.